difficult to make an impression after this performance. Excellencies, dear participants, 50 years ago, something exceptional happened in Helsinki. In a Europe divided by ideological confrontation, the leaders of 35 countries from East and West gathered in this room to sign the Helsinki Final Act. This landmark document laid down 10 principles committing us all to respect the inviolability of borders, to resolve disputes peacefully, and to guarantee fundamental human rights to our citizens. What made this achievement groundbreaking was the recognition that security is not merely a matter between states. It is inseparable from the rights of individuals. The Final Act redefined security, expanding it beyond military considerations to encompass human rights, economic cooperation, and environmental protection. As Minister Jaakko Iloniemi, who led the CSE efforts on the Finnish side 50 years ago, and is here today, said, the goal was simply to open a small crack in the Iron Curtain. Yet the small crack became an opening, making room for a movement that helped reshape our continent. The Helsinki Final Act is a classic example of how contemporary judgment can be overtaken by events. In many respects, the true significance of the CSCE was only revealed with delay, and many of the originally critical voices have later changed their mind. A prime example was the US Secretary of State and National Security Advisor, Henry Kissinger, who in the 1970s deemed the human rights basket of the Helsinki Final Act meaningless, famously stating, "They can write it in Swahili for all I care." He later acknowledged that it had in fact represented a turning point and started the eventual erosion of Soviet rule. At the heart of this transformation was civil society. Movements like Solidarity in Poland, Charter 77 in Czechoslovakia, Initiative for Peace and Human Rights in East Germany, and the Baltic Way showed us that the courage of ordinary citizens can shake even the mightiest empires. These brave individuals held their governments accountable using the words those regimes had endorsed in the Helsinki Final Act. One such voice was Lyudmila Alexeva, an exiled founding member of the Moscow-Helsinki group. In October 1985, she testified before the US Congress. For victims of human rights abuses in the Eastern Bloc, Helsinki remains the main source of hope and a rallying point in their struggle for freedom and peace. Just 4 years after she spoke these words, the Berlin Wall fell. This is the power of the Helsinki Final Act, not only in the signatures of heads of states, but in the hands and hearts of those who dare to believe that principles matter and that freedom is a right for everyone, not a privilege for a few. The legacy of the Helsinki Final Act lives in the landmark commitments of the 1990 Charter of Paris for a New Europe, the 1999 Istanbul Charter for European Security, and the 2010 Astana Commemorative Declaration. From this legacy emerged also the Organization for Security and Cooperation in Europe, the OSCE, dedicated to turning these principles and commitments into reality. This year, Finland is honored to chair the OSCE. In 2021, President Sauli Niinistö, also with us here today, proposed marking this anniversary with the summit in the spirit of Helsinki, to promote genuine dialogue on security, human rights, and global challenges such as climate change. In February 2022, just months after Finland was confirmed as chair for 25, the possibilities for such a summit were shattered by Russia's full-scale invasion of Ukraine. Russia's war of aggression violates every principle we are committed to, such as the respect for borders, sovereignty, and the renunciation of violence. Let me be clear. While the spirit of Helsinki has been challenged, the Helsinki principles remain unbroken. Across the OSCE region, we see the power of the Helsinki principles through the people. The brave Ukrainians have since 22 fought valiantly for their independence, but just as much for our values: democracy, the rule of law, freedom, and fundamental rights. The Ukrainians' fierce will to defend their country is a testament to their determination to live in liberty. From every corner of the OSCE region, people are united by a desire for peace, security, and freedom. This aspiration is not bound by time, place, or context, it's universal. In many countries, Russia's war of aggression has reawakened people's determination to work for a future rooted in democracy and a genuine independence from undue external influence. Ladies and gentlemen, anniversaries are moments for reflection, but also for renewal. In this spirit, the Finnish OSCE chairpersonship has initiated the Helsinki +50 discussions on the future of the OSCE, bringing together all participating states, partner countries, and representatives of civil society. From its early confidence-building measures to the work of its institutions and field operations, the OSCE has made significant contributions to conflict prevention, democratic development, human rights, and post-conflict reconciliation. But past achievements do not guarantee future relevance. We must seize this moment to make the OSCE more functional and more resilient. Later today, I will launch the Helsinki +50 Fund, a new initiative designed to improve the use of voluntary funding for the OSCE to deliver on its mandate, rooted in our shared principles and commitments. Esteemed guests, 3 immediate priorities stand before us. First, we must stand with Ukraine and hold Russia accountable for its war of aggression. The abducted children must be returned. War crimes must be meticulously documented. Those responsible must face justice. The war must end. It is the very foundation of the Helsinki principles we all uphold. Second, we must enact reforms within the OSCE to enable effective and timely decision-making. As an example, it is unacceptable that the organization has been operating without an approved budget since 2021. Without reform, the OSCE cannot fulfill its role. Third, we must uphold the core of this organization: shared commitments, open dialogue, and the voice of civil society, the lifeblood of democracy. Authoritarian regimes fear this voice, which is why they silence the media, dismantle institutions, and repress activists. When freedoms fade, so does human rights, democracy, and the rule of law. Sorry. Supporting civil society is the foundation of the OSCE. I call on all participating states to respect this principle. Ladies and gentlemen, colleagues and friends, the world has changed in 50 years, and most of the change has been for the better. The number of countries rated free has nearly doubled since 1973, when Freedom House started issuing Freedom in the World reports. In the OSCE area, the absolute number of independent, democratic, free countries has increased from around 15 to over 40. People live longer, are healthier, happier, and better educated. They are freer than ever to shape their own future. This is our guiding compass looking into the next 50 years. Freedom, democracy, human rights. Today, as we gather to mark the 50th anniversary of the Helsinki Final Act, we reaffirm that Helsinki principles live on and that they cannot be silenced by force or intimidation. The power to tear down walls lies with the people. It always has, and it always will. I thank you.
Thank you, Minister Valtonen, for this very inspiring